was around 4-5 months back. We had a meeting. Mr. Bijoy was there, Madam Charuji was there, Mr. Amit was there, I was there, pertaining to formalizing this particular program. First, I listened for some time what it is about, and I kept on questioning, and Mr. Bijoy, he kept on telling me this is already taken care. Like he said that there'll be a task force from these chosen, schools itself who will be, trained, and they will be as a trainer of trainers who will be further taking this task forward, because definitely Azim Premji University cannot be always with us. Ultimately, we in the Kashmir, we have to take this burden ourselves in future, and the way we put in our efforts or train or make these 83 schools a model of schools for other, whether it's private sector or government sector. In other districts also, we have to see how we can help or give our inputs to other schools also. Pertaining to University of Kashmir, extension component and being connected at grassroots level and with the community is one of the main objectives of our university, and one of the main accreditation component of NAC when we are previously when we were accredited and in future also. So to be honest, it's one of our need also to be very well connected with the extension component. And number two, the idea was so good that I at once said yes, University of Kashmir will be more than happy to be associated with it. Long time back, just for the information of the audience, we had a UNESCO project that's pre-primary, popularizing pre-primary education in rural areas of Kashmir and Ladakh, and this project was funded by UNESCO, by the Goodwill Ambassador to UNESCO, Mr. Madanjeet Singh. And in this, we trained these, girls. Some were militancy affected, some were widows, but educated at least till standard 12. We rented a hostel outside the university, and 100 girls we trained, and this time we have around 22 schools. They have their own. Others got dropped out, but in Kazigunde we have from this one the girl. She has a school at high school now. One is here in Ganderbal. So what I want to say is University of Kashmir has always taken this responsibility to be connected at the grassroots level, and specifically and these were all girls whom we train, and specifically for the upliftment, for the empowerment of women, University of Kashmir has always taken a lead. I do see that in due course of time this particular MOU will definitely show its success, and inshallah it will not take much time. Only thing is that of course we'll sit together, we have to frame a roadmap how to go on, Mr. Junaid said that initially 10 schools will be taken. We'll see how it's done, and definitely the role that University of Kashmir has to play, we'll definitely do it, and we'll be more than happy to share resources where we have to share it, whether it's a human resource or whether it's a non-human resource, and any type of research expertise we'll do it definitely. We have tried to gather a group here who will definitely be involved in this MOU in future deans of the faculties, where we have seen the educational component is over there, then other officers from our own university where they'll be involved. So I think a good start, and we do look forward, our both young officers left and right, definitely we would love to work with them, and not only for this school component with Azim Premji University, which has its foothold in the whole country. Specifically, we are very impressed by the welfare component, which they have incorporated in their policy. And inshallah we'll definitely be connected with it also, and we do look forward to have more working with each other. About University of Kashmir, we were the first in the country to shift to new education policy. We were in fact first university in the country after the admission of the first batch and the new education policy to issue the date sheet, and we must have already completed our first semester examination of new education policy. So with the University of Kashmir, there'll be a very serious business, and we'll also expect that the seriousness is within the group. So I'm sure, like we said, infrastructure की कहीं पे problem है, human resource की problem है. Definitely step by step, our officers will take care of that, and definitely will try to give our input where we have to. Again, for the information of the audience, university as its social corporate responsibility, we had our two Kashmir University alumni schools, which were in the different communities where in the area where parents could not afford to send their children either to private school or to government school. So we from our own funds had opened this school over there. Now it's under closure, but we have shifted them to our own model school. University also has its own model school till 10th. So I will definitely request Mr. Bijoy. I had, he visited last time. I think first when he visited to university, I told him to visit to our model school. We'll definitely have discussions with him how we can improve over there also. So just to give an idea how university is already involved, in schools, and we feel that it's our responsibility, because ultimately who are our feeders? School, then college, and then these kids come to us. So definitely if the base is good, whether it's private school or government school, and good number of government school children who come here, who qualify our national eligibility test. So it's only the motivation, the training, the education we have to give to these kids, and definitely I think they'll do wonders. And with these words, thankful to Madam Charuji and to Mr. Sunim, who at the back really wanted that this program should start, and Mr. Junaidji and Mr. Akhtar and Mr. Bijoy and all my officers of the university who have worked hard for this day.
It's an occasion where we three important organizations are entering into a tripartite agreement. The tripartite agreement, which we came to know that it is between the University of Kashmir, Srinagar Municipal Corporation of Kashmir, and the Azim Premji University, which is a private university. All the three institutions are of great repute. If we go by the Srinagar Municipal Corporation, which is an urban local body, it is has been established long back in 1886 probably, and it is serving to the urban areas of Valley under the leadership of Mr. Junaid Azim and the young OAS officer, our son of the soil, Mr. Athar. And on behalf of University of Kashmir, I welcome both of them to this beautiful campus, and we're grateful that because this is an initiative started by Srinagar Municipal Corporation only with Azim Premji University, which is a private university and which is contributing to the highest standards of education in the country, not only at country level, but it extends its support to at the international level also. And University of Kashmir, we know that it is the oldest university in J&K, and rather established in 1948. And we are serving since independence to the whole J&K. At some time there were students from outside country, but because of certain issues in 1990, we are now bereft from the students at the international level, but we are under the leadership of our new Vice Chancellor, Dr. Nilofarji. We have already given a 5% representation, rather 5% category for the international students, and hopefully we expect that this year we will be having some students at the international level. I, as Registrar of the University of Kashmir, I welcome my Honorable Vice Chancellor to this August gathering, and I welcome the officials from the Srinagar Municipal Corporation, particularly the Mayor of the Srinagar, Mr. Junaid Mattu. I welcome Mr. Biju Shankar Das, who is leader Northeastern States and J&K from Azim Premji University on this occasion. And I welcome all my deans, particularly Dean Academic Affairs, Dean Research, Control Examinations, our deans from different faculties, our heads of few departments which we are taught that they can be roped into this MOU on the later stage, and Honorable Vice Chancellor thought it a prudent decision to call them on this occasion so that they can also be apprised about the nitty-gritties of this MOU. With these words, I welcome you all again, and if I missed anyone, I am apologetic, and I welcome him also, or her also. Thank you.
As Commissioner SMC told you that the genesis of SMC, which was quintessentially one of the departments of the government, focusing on education now, is the 74th Amendment to the Constitution of India, which has truly transformed Srinagar Municipal Corporation from being a government department to being the urban local government of the city of Srinagar. Education, apart from primary health and floriculture and urban forestry and roads and buildings and a list of other departments, I think and I believe that education, primary education, is the most important power that has been devolved to us, in addition to primary health, which is yet to happen, but it's in the pipeline. The MOU between Srinagar Municipal Corporation and Azim Premji Foundation would not have happened without the active intervention, insight and curation by IGCRPF, Ms. Charu Sinha. The primrose and the baskets in front of me remind me, we are neighbors in, Ms. Charu Sinha and I, we live right next to each other in Sonwar, and on a very sunny spring afternoon, I mentioned to her, this is a very interesting story, that I mentioned to her, we discussed primary education and what was happening in SMC, and I told her that I was a school student when I read a very interesting article which talked about Azim Premji Foundation, not university at that point of time, but the Azim Premji Foundation, working on revamping government schools in Gujarat. And Gujarat was facing this urban problem that there were no students, but there were a lot of teachers. And they started by working on a public-private partnership model and basically asked private players to come in, lease out to the government schools for a period of 50 years, ask the private entity to add infrastructure, give world-class education, world-class facilities, as long as a percentage of admissions are free of cost for the underprivileged children. And as a consequence of that arrangement, poor people from economically disadvantaged sections who would not be able to avail world-class education got to avail world-class education. The government had absolutely no financial, incremental expenditure to make. They actually got rid of their revenue expenditure because the private player got it. And at the end of 50 years, or at the end of 10 years or 20 years, the infrastructure upgradation was handed back to the government. And I remember as a school student, I must have been in probably high school, it blew my mind. And that stayed with me. And on this afternoon, we discussed this, and I told her that I remember Azim Premji Foundation does something with schools, but I don't remember, it was long back, and I mentioned this article that I had read. And she immediately said, and Suneem was there, she said, I know somebody at the foundation and I can talk to them. And she picked up a phone and she dialed someone's number and she said, can I speak to Azim Premji Foundation about doing something in Srinagar? And that is how we're sitting here today. That's how it culminated. So a mention of Charu Sinha is very important on this occasion. And Bijoy has been struggling rather, since then. We exist in a very challenging ecosystem. Our work culture is, I would say, challenging, to sound very courteous and pleasant, and for the lack of a more pleasant word. But so Bijay will be struggling, and I am sure that once University of Kashmir comes in, our efforts, those of the Srinagar Municipal Corporation, those of Azim Premji Foundation, will find huge impetus, both academic, research-oriented, and also, help us in getting rid of the roadblocks that we have. Now, there are two challenges that we have. One is infrastructure and the other is human resource development. As with any system, we are witnessing a return to government schools in a lot of countries. The numbers are going, in a lot of states, in cities, the numbers are going up. We need to understand that the burgeoning private school sector, and I have absolutely nothing, I believe in privatization. I believe in the concept of small government, but we need to understand that a lot of people who would not ideally afford to send their children to private schools are forced to send their children to private school for lack of a better alternative in government schools. That's a stark reality, even within the confines of Srinagar city. And I speak to a lot of people who say that they have to send their children to private school because private school has transport and private school has holistic education and they have better career prospects, and we can't afford it, but we can't send our child to a government school, a primary school, where 3 or 4 classes are taught in one rented room, or in one corner you have a gas cylinder and a stove where a meal is being cooked. The staff room is there, 5 classes are sitting in that room. We have never been known to have our priorities right as a system. Again, for lack of a better way to say it, almost every ward of Srinagar city has a beautiful marriage hall, but our primary schools exist in rented rooms above shops. When we can give decent schools to our economically disadvantaged sections, that is a day when we'll have succeeded to a certain extent, and infrastructure is a part of it. We have decided to create, when we met last, that we will start with a pilot project of 10 model schools in the city of Srinagar with infrastructural upgradations to proper classrooms, smart classrooms. And in all of that, I think we're very fortunate and very blessed to have Kashmir University come in. Kashmir University can, as I again mentioned, help us not only in empirical evidence and research-based study and planning, but also in understanding how we prioritize our challenges. So I'm very grateful that University of Kashmir is on board. It's always, University of Kashmir is an emblem of pride for all of us. It's one of the most premier institutions in the country. So it's a matter of honor for us that Kashmir University is coming on board. I thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Kashmir University, Professor Khan, for agreeing to lend the credibility and the resources and the enormous academic strength of the University of Kashmir to this initiative. And again, Azim Premji Foundation has been doing some tremendous work across the country. I have no doubt that their work will be equally significant here. The concept, like Athar Saab mentioned, I've witnessed this recently in Hyderabad. I think the future of education lies in this concept called KG to PG. And we, at one point of time, we thought that segregating and segmenting education and, looking at education in parts is the way forward. But we are going back and saying that looking at education as a whole, holistically, is the way forward. The KG to PG concept, that everything has to be linked, synchronized, synergies have to evolve. So let's hope that one fine day we see 10 model schools in the city of Srinagar, primary schools, and we switch on a news report and say that we are doing a feature on a primary school in Srinagar. And look at this primary school, it's so beautiful. That would personally be, even if I'm not here at that point of time, Athar Saab is not here at that point of time, that would be a matter of pride and privilege for us.
Nisar Ahmed and other senior faculty members and academicians of Kashmir University, my colleagues from the Srinagar Municipal Corporation, my joint commissioners and special secretary law officers, and a very important guest who is here with us, Mr. Bijoy Shankar Das, representing Azim Premji Foundation and University, and all other respected members who are in the audience. A very good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I think, in a university, when we are discussing primary education, I think we have got the context right. So in a place where we only look after research scholars and master students, here we are talking about how to improve the learning and how to improve the growth of that child who is in class 1 or in a preschool. I think we are doing something right. So I would like to little contextualize this occasion. So last year, what happened was there's something called a 74th Amendment of our Constitution. Under that amendment, there's a lot of delegation happens to local bodies. So in the civic bodies, in the urban bodies, Srinagar Municipal Corporation is the largest one in J&K. So in compliance to the 74th Amendment, the government of J&K decided to transfer a number of departments to municipal corporation. This includes roads, it includes water supply, it includes urban forestry, social forestry, primary health, and also primary education, which in fact is among one of the most important departments that have been transferred. And in the first instance, these 83 schools were transferred to Srinagar Municipal Corporation for the first time. So that is what we all were discussing in Municipal Corporation, that now they have been transferred. Now this transfer should have some outcome to it. It should have some improvement to what was existing. So that's when these whole discussions and deliberations got into picture. And in the meantime also we got a very great support from Charu Sinha ji, who is in the CRPF, is IG CRPF, and we had a number of, she had got one of these ideas that in many places universities do collaborate with it, and she knew Azim Premji Foundation, and in fact she played a very important role for them for them to come to Kashmir. So that's where the context comes in. So the main objective and main purpose for us is that how do we improvise? If we are, because for municipal corporation this is the beginning. So this would, how we kind of project and plan these schools, how do we work on these schools, that's going to lay down the path down ahead. Maybe at some point of time the middle schools are going to come into this fold, high schools are going to come into this fold, maybe new schools come up. So this is the beginning, and we wanted to have this beginning in a right and a proper way. So now what does this collaboration do? Three things to it, three parts to it. One is Azim Premji Foundation, as was also spoken by Mr. Bijoy also, and a respected faculty member also, that they have a huge experience and they're working on this education sector all across the country. I have seen them work in Rajasthan, they work in some of the tribal belts, they also work down south also, in many places in Maharashtra and Gujarat also. So there are a lot of best practices in all the places. So something is happening really nice in Rajasthan, something's really happening nice in Delhi. We have seen huge improvement happening over there. So they bring in a lot of these best practices and cross learnings to us. And then again, Kashmir University, such a bright institution, this can very easily help us contextualize all these best practices. And as a municipal corporation, we can be a part in implementing in these schools. So that's kind of a three-way aspect that we are looking at. Recently, I think the ACER Annual Status of Education Report 2022 was released, and it was very important because, in fact, it was one of the full comprehensive studies post-pandemic. And this study was showing that in primary schools, our learning outcomes have probably gone down below 2012 levels. 2012 में जो learning, particularly reading levels में थी, आज private and government schools दोनों में उससे कम हो गई हैं. Again, pandemic has taught us so much that probably brick and mortar school is not the only way of reaching out to students. There are many different ways of reaching out and teaching students. And in fact, the whole paradigm and whole framework of education system has changed in our country. We have seen unicorns like Byju's and Unacademy coming up. So in this broad context, where do we position ourselves? I was having a word with Director of Education a few days back. In Kashmir, we have around 3.4 lakh kids in primary schools. In school, out of these 3.4 lakh kids in schools, around 2.9 lakh are in private schools. So the government schools hardly cater to around 50,000 of the kids. Now, this is a hard reality in many parts of the country. We are saying that the privatization is very high. It is above 50%, but in our case, it is much more than that. So that even makes it much more important for us to make sure that our schools improve. Now, when we talk about improving the schools, what we're looking at, again, yes, how do we improve the teaching methodologies? How do we improve the pedagogy? How do we bring in that leadership in our teachers? In fact, this was one of the important parts that we have been working on in the past 1 year. How does that one teacher who is teaching in one single room, 5 classes, how does he take that ownership and see it as an opportunity rather than a challenge? So right now, when you talk to any school, any teacher among these schools, he would say that I have one classroom, I have 5 classes, there are 25 students, they are in one classroom. How do I teach 5 classes in one classroom? So how do we change this mindset? How do we change this orientation that he feels that, this is an opportunity. I have 20 kids. Can I bring in some kind of a cross learning? Can I bring in some new kind of a way of teaching so that these improve? So that's again something that we need to work on. Schools and primary education, it cannot be confined to only say teaching, only learning ABC, only learning mathematics. How do we bring this teaching and learning from pure arithmetic and language learning to other social skills? क्या हमारे बच्चे, in fact few days back we were in one of the workshops, we were saying the biggest, सबसे एक बच्चे की proper education मुझे लगता है तब है अगर वो डॉक्टर के सामने बता पाता है मुझे पेट में कहाँ दर्द है. क्या वो कर पाता है? Can he speak so confidently in front of? Can he express and raise the problem he is facing? And tomorrow, can he become a positive, contributing member of our society? So that's the kind of schooling, that's the kind of learning we want to instill in these schools. And I'm sure with this MOU between Kashmir University, Srinagar Municipal Corporation, and Azim Premji Foundation, this will be a new way in which we all learn together. We all help each other, support each other. It's only about collaboration and support. So as Mr. Bijoy was saying, and MOU for me, it's only in order to ensure continuity. We unfortunately have a habit of, we start a lot of things but we never take them to conclusion, because taking them to logical conclusion takes hard work, it takes effort, and it is not glamorous. So the MOU in our sense is that it ensures continuity, whether the people who are sitting on the chairs right now, whether they are there after after 5 months or not, but the MOU stands, the continuity stands. And with that intention, inshallah, I'm sure that this is going to be a new dawn in our education system, and we'll take it forward beyond these schools. Thank you.
Respected VC ma'am, respected Mayor SMC, respected Commissioner SMC, respected all the deans and other dignitaries of Kashmir University, respected all other dignitaries of SMC and all present here. I'm happy that we are getting into this MOU. We have signed one MOU with SMC 1 year back to improve not to improve, to help the 83 primary schools which are under SMC in all the academic activities. As sir already mentioned, the activities, we are here to professionally develop the people, the stakeholders of SMC schools, right from the zonal education officers to head teachers and teachers. Other than that, we are also here to collaborate with Kashmir University and SMC to create some materials in the context of Srinagar or Kashmir for these 83 government schools. For example, curriculum materials, for example, textbooks and any other material which can be used in the classrooms. For all your information, and all of you aware that National Education Policy 2020 is here, and after that now National Curricular Framework is coming. Already the foundational stage is here. Within a month or so, the NCF for the upper grades will be here. And Azim Premji University is very much part of it. We are working with the Ministry of Education in designing all these documents, very important documents. We are helping many states in implementing the Foundation Literacy and Numeracy initiative based on the new National Curricular Framework. And we are happy that now with these 83 SMC schools, we'll be able to implement the learnings from new NCF. Few things which we did with till now with SMC and these 83 schools, we had a very detailed discussion with around 200 teachers. We are fortunate to have them for a day in SMC building, and we had a discussion on their positives and challenges. Based on those positives and challenges, we had a visioning workshop with the ZEOs and the ZRPs who are very important stakeholders for these 83 schools. After the vision statement was formed, then we had 2 capacity building workshops for the ZRPs. ZRPs are the very critical group for this whole initiative because we believe in improving or building the internal capacity of a state so that in the future whatever need to be done in Srinagar can be done by these people who are from Srinagar, from Kashmir, and gradually the need of organizations like Azim Premji University will be lesser. And I'm very happy, last time when I was here, I met VC ma'am, and she generously offered her support that we as a university can collaborate with you and SMC to bring this academic rigor. And I think with this MOU signing, which is very much only a formality, I believe that as sir said, this is only a paper piece. The main thing will be the implementation part, and we are looking forward to collaborate with University of Kashmir and SMC to improve the quality of education in these 83 schools very soon. As far as University of Kashmir is concerned, other than this MOU also, as a Azim Premji Foundation, as an organization, we want to collaborate more. For example, we'd like to come to Kashmir University campus for recruiting fresh postgraduates for different kind of initiatives of Azim Premji Foundation across different states of India. That is one. Second thing, we need faculties in Azim Premji University. We have a campus in Bangalore now. The second campus is coming up in Bhopal. So 2023-24 we're beginning our Bhopal campus. The third campus is coming in Ranchi to cater the central tribal belt. And the fourth campus is coming in Assam. So these 4 campuses will basically try to provide quality quality education of the people who are not able to get that, scope and exposure. We're trying to reach out to remotest part of India, and we're trying to, attract students who are from socio-economically weaker section. And more than 70% of our students are studying for free. Not only tuition fee, their residential facilities are also for free. So I think in the future, in collaboration with the University of Kashmir, we will try to go to remote part of Kashmir also to talk to those students who are in +2, who are in graduation level. If they're interested, they can come to Azim Premji University to study and then come back to Kashmir to contribute. So this is our purpose of the university. So in the future, ma'am, we'll try to collaborate more. Beyond these 83 schools, we'll try to reach out to people who can collaborate with us for the quality education purpose. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
As all of us know, education in India, it's undergoing a major transformation. With the rollout of this new education policy, emphasis is nowadays being laid on need-based education. So for educational institutions, it's of paramount importance that we must be in a position to identify the problems first. Providing solutions, that's second part of it. But first we should be in a position to identify those problems. Sitting here in four walls of the university, many times it may not be possible for us to have feel of the magnitude of the problems or even identify those problems. See, joining hands with people, with organizations outside four walls of this university, I think that can play a major role in identifying our problems, in making assessment of the magnitude of those problems. SMC has been doing a commendable job. But doing things in isolation, sir, may not be sufficient, neither for SMC, nor for Azim Premji University, and nor for Kashmir University. As I told you, the new dimension that's being added to the education, that is, it has been need-based. It's, as my colleagues who did speak before me, in terms of research output, University of Kashmir figures in it figures prominently on the research map of the universities of the world. That way it's a matter of satisfaction for all of us. But as regards our contribution in solving the problems that exist on ground, नई education policy का यही लुभाव है. Secondly, India has a demographic advantage. As per some reports, more than 50% of our population is under 25. As per some other reports, more than 65% of the population is under 35. So if we just see all these reports, we do have a demographic advantage. And educational institutions, be it colleges, universities, these are the hot spots of this, where this energy, where this talent, it gets concentrated. Now all of us are morally bound, duty bound to make proper utilization of this talent which is concentrated in universities, which is concentrated in colleges. I would like to point out few things for information of our Commissioner SMC. There are many things while you formulate plans. Generally, plans are based on data. I think institutions can be utilized for that purpose to get a reliable data while formulating the policies. I think that can be a very good, shake hand between SMC and research or educational institutions. You can formulate your policies on the basis of a reliable data which can be obtained from the universities. And then, of course, it's a beginning. As I told in past, 7-8 months, of course, the university has already started it. But after Professor Nilofar Khan took over as Vice Chancellor of this university, this feeling, it has gained, it got intensified, and these activities got some momentum, how to join hands. And this is a reflection of that. Today's MOU with SMC and tripartite this MOU with Azim Premji University and SMC, it's a part of that. I hope this will be a milestone in, joining hands, solving the problems that exist on the ground, and I wish good luck to to all the three parties so that we achieve the noble objectives which have been penned down here in this MOU. Thank you very much.
Last 1 year, we have organized almost 70 plus workshops of both national and international level, where many issues related to the issue that we have signed today, especially the education of child kids as well as care of the minority communities is taken care of. In that, departments like social work, department like law, have in turn tried to educate us about what are the legalities and what are the social issues of taking care of those communities which are actually facing many different issues. And she in turn highlighted that not only should we educate ourselves but also the concerned quarters as to what ways and means can be opted for, which will help us to uplift our morale as well as try to guide us as to how we can take care of the kids, youngsters who can in turn be at par with others. With Mr. Junaid, Azim Saab as well as Atar Amin Saab, I have been lucky enough to participate in few meetings regarding the conservation concepts of biodiversity. And whatever I highlighted in that meetings, and I got the minutes of the meeting, almost all the points have been accepted. And in that I highlighted it is better to include kids, youngsters, and he in turn selected few schools, both private and government schools, who can actually send a message to all the communities as to what is the role of conserving the diversity on which we are dependent. And that was highlighted by almost all the institutions that we are training kids, and tomorrow they will take this program to not only conserve but also spread the message that we are dependent on whatever we have. And in this issue also, whatever the related issues about the kids' development, education, and as well as streamlining their overall behavior, we can play a role. It's not the school kids, as you rightly said, that it is better that we link from primary to the PG level. We sit together and try to see what we can do. Azim Premji University as a whole, I know, is playing vital roles in many universities also. I was actually in JNU once, and there also they had a meeting regarding the same concept of educating youngsters and bringing them to light so that they can actually get trained as to what their role in the society as a whole can be. And I also seen that whatever university's overall profile nowadays is, it is among the top universities in India, how they educate, and I've tried to spread a message of social and collaborative attitude. I visited the university once, even though that day it was still developing. Now I have heard that it is among the top universities of South India. That is in turn reflecting that even in private sector, the concept of education, concept of training kids is becoming more and more popular. Hope and pray that this message will in turn spread to many other states and union territories so that they can in turn implement it and try to educate others. I'm highly thankful to my colleague Masoodi Saab, what he spoke on the policy as such. We have convened many meetings regarding the educational policy, and in that he also tried to see how right from the primary level up to the PG level we can modify the rules and regulations so that our policy becomes at par with the national level. Nisar Saab has been actively involved with all of us in terms of organizing. As I told you, 70 plus workshops, conferences have been organized only when he provided support in many different aspects. And in that, whatever the outcome was, that will actually be published soon in the form of an annual brochure where we'll try to highlight how many workshops, conferences have been organized and what is the net recommendation of all those, so that that message goes to all the quarters, which will help us to uplift the mood of the youngsters so that they can be part of the developmental scheme. Thanks to Zari Saab, at a very short notice, he was able to organize this meeting and we were able to sign the agreement. And then once this message spreads, obviously all the others will try to be in touch with us and try to see how we can be able to implement that. Very special thanks to the AMMRC for actually making a sort of a coverage, and which will be actually telecast live later on with the university brochure, so that all those who have not been able to participate live, they can see what the recommendations are, what the agreement is, so that they can in turn approach the concerned quarters to see the policy as such.
About the Azim Premji University, it is based in Bangalore, is funded by Azim Premji Foundation with a clear social purpose to make significant contributions towards a just, equitable, humane and sustainable society. The university aspires to do this through the development of talent and creation of knowledge which can facilitate systemic changes in education and allied development areas. Azim Premji University's School of Continuing Education and University's Resource Center is focused on developing, designing and delivering continuing education programs for practicing professionals. The University Resource Center offers programs in variety of domains including education, development, policy and governance, law, as well as professional skills and attributes such as project management, communication, facilitating skills, etc. University of Kashmir does not need introduction to the audience, but for our guests from outside, the University of Kashmir is the oldest and the largest university of Jammu and Kashmir and offers programs in almost all major faculties such as arts, business, management, education, law, applied sciences, social sciences, medicine, dentistry, technology, fine arts, etc. The University of Kashmir has been constantly introducing innovative and new programs to cater to the needs and demands of the students and the society. The university over the years has progressed towards excellence, and its recognition at national and global rankings in recent years is a clear reflection of the high standards of the quality of teaching and research it offers. Very briefly about the scope of this partnership. SMC, Azim Premji University and University of Kashmir during the period of this MOU shall collaborate on such mutually agreed initiatives and programs that have potential to improving the quality of education in 83 SMC schools in a systemic manner. The parties shall identify priorities for collaboration and design specific initiatives or programs to fulfill the identified objectives of such priorities. Azim Premji University will bring in necessary academic and technical resources for such initiatives as required and shall contribute in the following three areas. 1. Conducting workshops with the core groups of Srinagar Municipal Corporation. 2. Conduct of continuous professional development programs for zonal education officers, school leaders and school teachers. And finally, they shall also supply and help in curriculum development and supply of material for such as textbooks, etc. The role of Kashmir University shall be to provide all technical support to finalize and contextualize the modules of all the three above mentioned areas and lend assistance of the resourceful faculty of the University of Kashmir as and when required. SMC shall extend financial and logistic support as may be required in realization of the objectives of MOU, that is improvement of education in the chosen 83 schools. This MOU shall be initially for a period of 2 years with effect from today, and I do hope genuinely that the parties will translate this MOU from a commitment on paper to a reality in the lives of people that we serve. Thank you very much.